Good morning, everybody. Uneducated economist here. So I was going through some of the comments of yesterday's videos. We did two of them talking about um, living in fear, and then also the idea that you can just exist out there as a human and not have to provide anything for society, whether it comes to production or service. Basically, the anti-capitalist movement. And going through some of those comments, it really got me thinking about what it is to have a society where it is so easy to live. It is so comfortable to be in America, living like Americans do. And now I know a lot of people are going to be rolling their eyes at that, saying, "You don't live my life. You don't know how hard I have it." I've been down, I haven't lived on the streets. I haven't been homeless. I've always had a place to go to. But I have been pretty well broke, without anything. In fact, it came to the point where I needed to butcher animals to eat. And that's not a joke. I mean, we had a hobby farm, and if it wasn't for the fact that we had chickens and ducks and gardens and stuff like that, feeding ourselves was going to be very difficult. And having that hobby farm going, eating was not really troublesome for us. We always had plentiful food, and so it made living in a broke state, not having any other money, not so bad. We just kind of enjoyed being there on the farm, doing, caring for the animals in the garden and stuff. And that was really our entertainment, our occupation for what we had, because there was really nothing else we could do. And I see people who are of means, they have money. In fact, I see them in here. I work at a lumber yard. I do retail sales for a living, and I sell hardware and building supplies. And I see people who come in with rentals, and they'll be talking about maybe evicting somebody or forcing somebody out, or somebody having to leave for whatever reason. They're selling the property. And, they say something like this. They'll say "Oh yeah, it's going to be tough for them, but they'll find something." Right? They'll find something. Are you sure about that, man? I mean, have you ever had to try with absolutely nothing? You have no money, you have no other means, you have no family, relatives, friends that can help you in any sense of financial hardship. I mean, have you ever lived that condition? Have you ever had to wait 3 days so that you could go to the store and buy a gallon of milk? Because that's when you finally get paid. Have you ever had a flat tire or a busted down car or something, and you had no other means of getting to work but that vehicle, and now it's broken and you can't get there? Have you ever lived in that kind of condition? It's tough. It's really tough. And I don't care if you are a billionaire working a $400 million deal, or you're flat ass broke and you're late for work and you realize you have a flat tire. The stress level's the same. You're going to experience the same amount of stress from that. The other day I'm watching a homeless couple, and they're drunk and they're fighting. And I don't know what they're fighting about, but I think about the deterioration of mental health within these two kids, and how being drunk is the only way that they can make it through the day, because facing the reality of the situation is just too much for them. And no matter what they do, there's no way they're getting out of this condition. They could work every day for a month, and there's no way that they're going to be able to acquire the things that they need to live a stable and normal life with an apartment and paying bills and doing all that. It's that idea is just completely gone for them. It's not happening. I think about how tough some people have it. I was reading an article just earlier about how Afghanis are selling a kidney because there's no other means. And they're getting $1,500 for their kidney. $1,500. I would pay $15,000. I would pay $115,000 to have a kidney back, just to be made whole. And these people are giving up one for $1,500. I can't imagine what the future is going to be like if we have a total dollar destruction. If we have a dollar that no longer is the world reserve currency. The path that would lead us to that it would be unlike anything that anybody can imagine. It would be scary. You can imagine everybody who ever thought that they had a decent retirement coming just vanishing. Imagine not being able to acquire the food to feed your family, watching your little kids starve. Imagine having to go down and sell a kidney for $1,500. Imagine that. Then imagine how grateful you should be for what you do have. For the fact that you probably do live in a home. And that you have somebody there who can look after you if you get sick. I mean, if you have that in your life, you should be very grateful. And be grateful that you don't have to sell a kidney for $1,500, because to me, that would just be like the most unimaginable condition of life that I can imagine. That you would have to do that to try and feed your family, because there's no other way. You know, I think about the youth of today and how hard they have it. My wife showed me a picture of some oyster shuckers from, I think it was Depression era picture. 2 6-year-old girls and a 10-year-old girl. The look on their face, just so beaten down and hardened. You know, not a bit of joy or smile within it. And I'm thinking, man, how is it that these kids live in this condition? Look at them. I mean, they're just like the scowl. You know? And so I zoomed in on the picture, and I zoomed in on their hands to see what their hands look like. You got to think, these are oyster shuckers, right? These are oyster shells. They're sharp. And, you know, they're just little hands, and so it's kind of hard to break into these things. And their hands were shredded. Like you can see, they're all cut up. And I think, man, if the youth of today had to go through that in order to grow up, they had to go through that in order to have clothing, they had to go through that in order to eat, I don't think we would have the nanny state that we have. I don't think we would have the carry me along, I need you to take care of me from the government perspective. I don't think we would have any of that. People would be like, you know, I'm on my own. I got this. You don't know nothing. I tore my hands up shucking oysters when I was 6 years old. Can you imagine that? I mean, talk about being tough. So, anyway, I got to go into work now. But I thought I would give you guys just kind of some of my thoughts after reading about how Afghanis are selling their kidney for $1,500 in order to feed their family, and, you know, what it is that we have available to us right now, and how grateful we should all be for what it is that what we can do for ourselves and what we can do for the people around us. I mean, it's better than giving up a $1,500 kidney, right? Uneducated economist, you guys let me know.